Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, whatever time it is, wherever you are, it is right now. You are right here. My name is Manuel, and it's my pleasure to welcome you. Today is day 44 of the show, and I have to congratulate you for making the best decision of the day to spend some time with me. Let's get started. Truthfully, it had not been my intention to revisit the topic of Cuba so quickly. Just yesterday, we discussed the historic speech that President Díaz-Canel gave at sunrise, informing the world that Cuba had indeed entered into negotiations with the United States, and he struck an extremely conciliatory tone, something very unusual for Cuban leaders. If you have not heard it already, I suggest you visit yesterday's podcast and hear all about it. That was the headline yesterday, but often events do overtake, and something beyond extraordinary happened last night that you probably haven't heard of yet. Last night, in Cuba, in the city of Morón, protesters burned down the local Communist Party headquarters. Now think about the timing here. The Cuban leadership goes on television in the morning, sounding cautious, even conciliatory towards the United States. And that same night, people are burning down the Communist Party headquarters. That is not a coincidence. Do you know what that is? That's the sound of a regime losing its grip. History has shown us time and again something extremely important about revolutions. Rarely do they ever begin in the capital. Almost always they begin somewhere else, a provincial town, or perhaps an industrial city, somewhere the regime thinks it has control, and then the fire spreads. We've seen this time and time again. And when it spreads quickly. Think of Romania in 1989. Nicholas Ceausescu thought he had everything under control until suddenly he didn't. Within days, his regime collapsed and he was executed. Now, let me be clear. I'm not predicting the same scenario will play out in Cuba. But, once again to be clear, I am saying unambiguously, communism in Cuba is dead. It just hasn't realized it yet. The regime now has two options. Option one, they move very fast. They cut a major deal with President Trump. They open the economy. They bring in investment. They get food, fuel, and infrastructure support flowing into the island. And they start real reforms immediately to relieve the pressure on the Cuban people. And by pressure, not just economic pressure, but the political pressure, the tyranny the Cuban people have been suffering for generations. Because right now, all that pressure, both economic and political, is enormous. Blackouts, food shortages, fuel shortages, an economy collapsing, and still people being arrested simply for having a difference of opinion with the government. Now, option two is that they do nothing or they don't move fast enough. And if that happens, events will overtake them. That little fire in Morón, that one act of defiance, that could spread across the island. And I don't just mean figuratively. It could also be literal. And if it spreads, history tells us what can follow. You see, revolutions are not tidy. Look at France in 1789, and look once again at Romania in 1989. When regimes collapse suddenly, things can become very dangerous very quickly. So, the Cuban leadership now faces a moment of truth, a moment of reckoning. Either they negotiate a transition peacefully towards prosperity and freedom, or the people take matters into their own hands. But one way or another, I'm going to go out on a limb today and say something. This is the year. Communism in Cuba is finished. It may not know it yet, but history has already moved on. And the people of Cuba, they're starting to move with it. All right. That's enough for today. We'll continue next time. And as always, be useful